Today we're going to be trying to achieve the impossible again and find some actually good two-sentence horror stories. Spoiler, most of them are not good, but we're looking at the top posts of every time period that has ever existed. My boss likes to show off his highly illegal collection of shrunken heads that he's smuggled back to the country from his business trips to Peru. I'm curious to see how long it takes him to notice the ones I added to his collection, but he's been distracted recently over the disappearance of his wife and children. It's just, I don't know, it's like a fucking, you're at work, and you have a collection of shrunken heads in your office. Is that not, like, gonna be a problem for your employment? Also, I'm pretty sure if you're a shrunken head collector, you're gonna know how many shrunken heads you have. Additionally, he's still coming into the office while his wife and children are missing, and he doesn't somehow recognize what is going on in this story? Did you know that most octopuses can fit through a hole the size of a human eye? I learned this the hard way. I love this format because it, like, presents to us a fun fact, and then it's like, I brought up this fun fact for a reason. It's not just for fun. And also, I gotta ask, what did you do to make this octopus somehow come at you with enough momentum to crush through your eyeball and into your eye socket? Like, I feel like you instigated this, bro. A young girl decided to send a letter to Santa without telling her parents, asking him to help solve the issues that are making her mommy and daddy fight so much. Her parents woke up Christmas Day, only to find that their daughter was nowhere to be found, and the only evidence the police could find was a letter she had written to Santa that someone had left on her bed. I love this story because it directly implies that this young girl is the problem in her parents' relationship, and if we're to assume that Santa is an all-knowing being and cannot make mistakes, the mother and father's life will actually improve now that their daughter is gone. They could just be in a happy relationship without having to worry about this dumb kid. Mommy and Daddy got you another birthday surprise, I said to my little sister after finally waking her up. But I need you to close your eyes, okay? As we walked past our parents' bodies to the police waiting outside, I covered her eyes more tightly and thanked God she was a heavy sleeper. I get what they're trying to do here, but, like, why do you gotta set the kid up for failure? Like, surprise, we're going to the police station and you're never gonna see mom and dad again. Like, they're still dead. Just tell her to close her eyes and come outside with you. You don't need to, like, make her think that there's something good happening and then it's the worst thing imaginable. But I gotta give props where props are due. Most two-sentence horror stories would have, like, made the author the murderer and, like, made the sister open her eyes and see her dead parents. So good on you for not going that route. We have word that the zombie horde breached Sanctuary 04, killing all 89 people inside. This has effectively halved the world's human population. So I like the idea of this. I think that it's creepy to think that 89 people dying, it's like, holy shit, humanity's fucked. But I don't know, there's something about this, the way that it's worded. It's so fucking hard to word these two-sentence horror stories. It just doesn't make it hit as hard as it should. Everyone keeps saying I'm not remembering the night my father abandoned our family, but I remember it like it was yesterday. He went into my room with his shotgun after I told him a monster was in my closet, but he never came back out again. So this one's actually really good. I think this sets up a lot of just, like, creepy ideas of, like, a kid explaining that the dad went into the closet and never came back out, and they're like, sure, dude, yeah, he just went to the store for some milk and cigarettes. I do find it kind of humorous. I mean, he was right at the end of the day, but it's funny that your dad was like, yeah, let me whip out the shotgun for the monster in the closet. They say you only truly die once your name is spoken for the last time. As my body begins to rot beneath the soil, I am deprived of my senses. I blindly pray that my infamy is short-lived. Okay, so unless your infamy is, like, 2 days long, I'm pretty sure you're gonna suffocate to death in that coffin. Like, I don't know what the body beginning to rot is all about. Is this person immortal? If so, I cannot be scared by the story. Like, when you bring in supernatural elements relating to your own immortality, I just can't put myself in the shoes of this situation. But a person just suffocating to death in a coffin, yeah, that's fucking terrifying. I would be, yeah, very upset. After the man sacrificed his newborn to bring back his dead wife, the demon clucked his tongue and shook his head. I said firstborn. Remember Spring Break 2015? This might sound cold, but I don't understand where the demon is coming from on this one. Like, instead of his newborn dying, which he was already planning to do, some random kid that he did not know and probably would never know is dead instead, and he gets his dead wife back to life. Like, I feel like he's kind of winning here. If nothing else, if he's a really cold-hearted motherfucker, it ties up any potential loose ends of some child support down the road. A 1.5 petabyte audio file outputted by the AI a few years after it was asked what the meaning of life was. An unknown voice cackling for 6 days straight, silence for 24 hours, and then 2,000 years of weeping that cuts out at the end. I feel like I've heard this premise and story worded in like 16 different ways on this subreddit, but like, who is listening through this 2,000 years of weeping? Like, how's it going, Bill? No, I'm doing good, just on year 50 of my shift of fucking listening to this AI weep. I also feel like that second sentence just means nothing to me. Like, it just seems like some arbitrary numbers and they're supposed to be ominous. English majors out there, is there any deeper meaning to this? Because I just can't, I don't get it. I always said thank you before bed for religious reasons. I stopped saying that a few months ago because of a voice saying you're welcome outside my window. I don't know why, but in my mind, this just created, like, a system of stalkers out there in the world. Like, imagine this person having a stalker, but then they have a counter-stalker who's actually protecting them from that other stalker, and so there's, like, an endless chain of stalkers stalking other stalkers because they're trying to protect the stalking victim that they think they have a relationship, but they think that that other stalker's dangerous, but they're not actually dangerous, but in reality, they are dangerous because they're also a stalker. After Grandpa's death, we were horrified to find the secret room in the basement where he'd kept his eldest son, our secret uncle locked away for decades. By the time we found out why he'd kept him locked away, it was too late. So I'm sorry, you've got a grandpa that has been somehow hiding away a secret child for decades, and he doesn't have, like, a contingency plan for if he dies? Like, if he's really trying to protect the world from this evil secret uncle, maybe one, just fucking kill him, bro. Or two, let somebody know so that he doesn't just wreak havoc on the world when you die. The first lab-grown infant didn't cry as it left the artificial womb. It just stared at the ceiling in horror and died shortly after. Footage of the birth revealed an invisible finger in white leaning over the infant, mumbling the word rejected in Old Akkadian. Okay, so I might just be dumb as fuck, but I have no idea what's going on here. Don't know. Don't get it. I don't know. I sent my 5-year-old daughter to get help as I felt the heart attack coming on in the grocery store. Through the pain, I could only watch helplessly as the man she approached scooped her up and ran out the front door. This one is actually pretty good. Like, imagine that moment of, like, your vision fading, and the last thing you remember is seeing your daughter just be taken away, and she could be anywhere, and you wake up in the hospital, and she's there! It was fine! The guy was actually taking her to get some ice cream. I don't know. My surgeon told me that my daughter's heart transplant had been a success. Relieved, I asked, "So this means I'll live?" Oh, what a twist! The surgeon killed a perfectly good child to give him a heart because it's an evil surgeon, and he's also evil, and everyone is evil. Dead children. Sorry, but wages are a privilege, the corrupt boss said, mocking his subordinates. As the enraged workers dragged him towards the window leading to a 900-foot drop, one of the workers said, "Being able to live a long life is also a privilege." You know this dude thought that last line went hard as fuck when he wrote it, but it's just being able to live a long life is also a privilege. Why not just being able to live is also a privilege? Like, it's shorter, it's a one-liner, you know, keep it concise. The boy's father sat behind his grave for 12 days before being convinced to return to his home. "Now do you see, child?" a voice whispered in the dark. "How quickly they forget and move on." A commenter adds, "That's the point of grief," the boy replied, "to help them find the strength to move on." Someone replies to that r/third sentence better. This is not better. This is just like intentionally tugging at your heartstrings. It's not a horror story. I don't see any horror in this. Also, like, the demon or whatever the voice was is trying to convince the kid that, oh, nobody fucking cares. Everybody's moving on. Like, I would say 12 days sitting at a gravesite. It's a pretty good run. Like, you need food at some point. You need water. Like, he tried his best, bro. The demon smiled as I bargained one last time to spare my daughter her cancer and give it to me instead. It reached out a large talon and crushed my daughter's head, picking through the brain and handing me her tumor. It's like, honestly, I'm victim blaming at this point. What the fuck are you expecting, my guy? Like, this isn't even an ambiguous thing of like, oh, it's a genie, it might be bad, it might not be. You're making deals with demons. You gotta be very, very specific with your wording if you want anything to turn out in your favor whatsoever.
If you don't pay me, I'll give myself a black eye and say that you did it,
the prostitute threatened. I took the tape recorder out of my pocket with full conviction that I could now get away with anything. And then she rushes you down and destroys the recorder. Why are you gonna have a secret tape recorder recording everything and then reveal it while you're still in the interaction? Because I guess you want to beat up this prostitute for wanting to be paid for her work? Like, what is going on in this story? I'm so confused. My 7'2" brother snuck past the roller coaster's max height restriction sign. We went under a low bridge, and now he's just the right height. I do not understand how some of these get upvoted. Like, is it supposed to be clever that he's the right height now or something? Also, just because you snuck past the max height restriction sign doesn't mean they aren't gonna notice that you're like fucking Shaquille O'Neal height. Like, oh, we can't compare him to the sign, so we don't have any way of knowing what his height is. Put him on there. When I traveled back in time, my past self asked with tentative hope, when does it get better? I couldn't think of how to answer without breaking his heart, but as I began to fade out of existence, I realized my hesitation gave him everything he needed to know. So this person brought up time travel, so they just opened themselves up to all criticism. First off, why are you going back in time and interacting with your past self? Like, obviously that's gonna bang stuff up, even if it has nothing to do with him losing hope about the future. Also, I don't get why the past self is even losing hope in the first place. Like, if my future self came to me and was like, yeah, it doesn't really get better, I'll be like, okay, well, life sucks sometimes, but at least in the future, I'll be able to time travel. Why would I not want to stick around for that? Today's number is 10. It was 300 a week ago, and 50,000 about a month ago. And a year ago, the number was 7.9 billion. Oh no, the number, not the number. What could this number be referring to? It's so ominous and mysterious. I'm just gonna have to rack my brain over the deep complexities of this one. I'm sorry, but I don't believe it is necessary to increase your dosages of antipsychotics, said the doctor as he handed me the prescription. Don't panic, but I can see it too, he had written at the bottom of the paper. I don't know why, but my brain just went to this doctor literally just hates this patient and he's trying to make his psychosis worse. He's just fucking with him. On screen right now, a new Finding the Worst Creepypastas live stream if you're interested. Also, I'm going to be trying to upload more stuff to my music channel this year. Hopefully weekly shit. There's like a 4-day-old video on there right now if you want to check it out. Nice little peaceful song. And anyway, skate on to the best of your abilities. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water and I'll see you super soon. Peace out, skater bladers.